If we want to be a leader, if we want to make a difference, if we want to grow, if we want to adapt to the changes, if we want to be creative, we've got to make the choice. Whatever the situation, we are going to try our best. Whether we fail or not, at least we can look back and say, I tried. Every day you wake up, you've got to do a checkup from the neck up. Which means you've got to set an intention when you wake up to ask yourself this question: what is going on inside here? We learn to come together, we can do amazing things. Because in coming together, do you know what we do? We inspire each other. 25 years. I've seen a lot. I will tell you this. When a person is inspired, they can do amazing things. People ask me, what's your job? What do you do? Simple. My job and my hope is every time I step on stage is to inspire people. Love it. I love my job. You know, the great thing about this job is that I get to speak to every kind of group imaginable. There was a week in December, this perfect example. I started my week out with elementary school kids. You want to talk about a crazy fun crowd? 500 elementary school kids. I always got to tell the principal, hey, I'm going to draw up here, and when I do, and I'm a landscape artist, and so it's going to go through all these changes. Your kids are going to commentate the whole drawing. Let them get loud. Let them have fun. Can you imagine being in a room with 500 kids, and every time I draw something, they're screaming out, it's a mountain, it's a tree. One kid screamed out, it's a turkey. And I almost turned around and I was like, dude, that's a rock. I don't know what your mom does with that turkey at Thanksgiving. I got one thing to tell you, butter. Moistens that bad boy up. I went from the elementary school kids to the SMC Corporation of America, and I had a chance to speak to 1,000 individuals, a lot like yourselves, working hard every day to put out an amazing product. I went from there to Virginia, and I spoke in 6 high schools. And from there, I went all the way to Dallas, and you guys are going to like me for this one. I ended my week speaking to the Clemson football team before they played Notre Dame. And I'll tell you what, before that game, all my friends, all my Notre Dame friends are texting me, you better stink, buddy. You better downgrade that show. But that's the variety that I get. And I love that about my job. When I first started speaking to corporations, I got really nervous. Because I never ever wanted to stand on stage and pretend like I knew what you guys go through day in and day out. I never wanted to stand on stage and understand and pretend like I understand the intricacies and the ups and downs and the all-arounds and the goals and the deadlines and the pressures and the stress that you go through every day to do what you do. I never wanted to do that. And so I wondered, am I going to be able to connect? I remember getting booked for the Ford Motor Company, and I looked at their theme, and I'm thinking, do they know who they're bringing in? Their theme was process discipline. I called the dude up. I'm like, you know I'm ADD, right? My life is anything but disciplined. He's like, yeah, it'll be hilarious. Come on. Okay. I may not understand what you guys have to go through every day to do what you do, but one thing that I do know in the 25 years that I've traveled around, I know people. And I've learned something. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how big or small the corporation is. It doesn't matter what team you're a part of, what kind of group you have, and what kind of goals you have. It all, if you want to break it down, simplify it, do it ADD special ed style. If you really want to get to the root of what it's all about, here it is. It all comes down to relationships. Relationships. People working together. People encouraging one another. I love the word synergy. A group of individuals taking their unique talents, understanding that we're all going to come into that situation with our weaknesses, but we take those unique talents and we come together for a common goal and we work side by side to achieve that goal. I love that. But to do that, you have to understand the root and the foundation is relationships. People helping people. That's what it's all about, guys. And as you think about what you do every single day, I'm sure you know that's true. You got to find an outlet because it's okay to be angry. And when you get angry, that's when you go utilize it. That's when you go and you hit that bag and you say, hey, today's not one of those good days. And instead of letting that stinking thinking win, I'm going to take it out on this heavy bag. And when I get done hitting this heavy bag, I'm going to feel a whole lot better. And let me tell you something, it absolutely works. I didn't have that back then. I didn't have that when they told me that I was special. Everybody says, you got to hold that in, you got to hold that in. Well, this teacher gives me this pep talk and I got angry. You'd think that the opposite would happen. She's giving me all this encouragement and she says, hey, Ben, it's okay to be angry. And I says, yes, I am angry. I didn't ask for this. When you told me that I was special, all I was wondering is, hey, does this come with the receipt? Because I'd really like to return it. She said, Ben, I understand. But here's what you need to know. You're not in it by yourself. I'm here for you. Ben, I am here to teach you and help you if you let me. I read this cartoon recently, and hopefully I'll do it justice, but I think it really sums up what you guys are trying to accomplish most of all with your time together. It's by Charles Schulz. It was a Peanuts cartoon. At the start of the cartoon, Lucy walks in and tells Linus, hey, you need to change the channel on the TV. Linus says, what for? Why do I need to do that? And Lucy says, well, you see these 5 fingers? On their own, they're not very much. But you see, when I take these fingers and I unite them and I curl them together, they become quite the weapon. And then Linus says, hey, what channel would you like me to turn to? And then the end of the cartoon, Linus is looking down at his 5 fingers and he says, why can't you guys come together? All of the junk and the craziness that we go through life, whether it's at home or in our occupation, when we learn to come together, we can do amazing things. Because in coming together, do you know what we do? We inspire each other. That's what this is about. This is what this time's all about. Inspiring you guys to keep moving forward, to continue to serve your clients the best you can, and to build each other up, especially recognizing that every day is not going to be a good day. But united, you can keep running the race. 25 years. I've seen a lot. I will tell you this. When a person is inspired, they can do amazing things. People ask me, what's your job? What do you do? Simple. My job and my hope is every time I step on stage is to inspire people. So that when you walk out of this room, you feel ready to rock. You know that you can do amazing things because you can. United. You can make some noise. How do I know this? Because of a teacher. I agree. I said, okay. She asked me, she says, Ben, I'm only asking you to do one thing. I'm asking you to try. Because up to that point, I had not tried. And that's a decision that we have to make. If we want to be a leader, if we want to make a difference, if we want to grow, if we want to adapt to the changes, if we want to be creative, we've got to make the choice. Whatever the situation, we are going to try our best. Whether we fail or not, at least we can look back and say, I tried. So many people say, hey, this is not the way it's been done. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. I quit. And that right there, you've already lost the race. Try. It's such a small word, but it's something so significant, the word try. It's only 4 letters long, but it means something so powerful. Right now, some of you are looking at me thinking, he really is special. That's why I always perform in a shirt with an S on it, especially when I speak to students. When they told me I was special, I hated it, I loathed it, my brain was hijacked by it, but now I wear this shirt because I want people to know I'm special. I wear this shirt so that I walk around the Atlanta airport, people say, hey, Superman. I say, no, special. I also thought it was funny after that lady called me Sasquatch. I'm like, hey, that's really good. Special Sasquatch, yay. My special ed teacher gave me that pep talk, and she said this in closing. She said, Ben, I want you to find it. I want you to find it, Ben. And of course, I'm going to ask this question. What am I looking for? She says, I want you to find your gift. I want you to find your passion. I want you to find the thing that people are nominating you for to get in that bag right there. That's what she wanted me to find. She wanted somebody to be able to recognize the fact that, hey, this guy right here, he found his gift. He's using his talents. He's not letting them go to waste. And of course, as a Ninth grader, I'm going to ask this question. What is it? Well, I love the fact that she could have made something up, but she was so honest with me. Kids know when you're lying. They're so smart. She said, I have no idea. I said, what is it? She says, I have no idea, but that's what we got to find out. You're not in it alone, Ben. We'll do it together. I says, well, I'm really curious because I can't read very well. I can't spell worth a lick. I thank God every day for spell check. Math sure is stinky. What am I going to do? She says, who knows? Well, let's find it. She said, after you find it, Ben, I want you to do one thing. Pour your heart into it. That's how you make a difference. Did you guys hear that? I want to say it one more time. I want you guys to make sure you get this. Pour your heart into it. That's how you make a difference. You know, when you listen to somebody commentating a sports performance and somebody's maybe running for the end zone or somebody just cranked out a grand slam home run, or even better yet, you know, you watch shows like The Voice or America's Got Talent and you see somebody stand on stage and then that announcer or that person, you know, who's, I don't know, commentating says, wow, have you ever seen such heart? You guys ever heard that before? I mean, when you think about heart, you think about a performance, you think about somebody doing something at a really high level. And to me, what's funny is that really what we're talking about is the battle and the struggles that that person went through, not quitting, continuing to move forward to be able to do what they're doing at a high level. That's heart. What they're saying is that person went through crazy, stressful, anxiety challenges, probably wanted to quit, but yet kept moving forward, and we are seeing the results of that. And so she's saying, Ben, I want you to pour your heart into it. I want you to keep battling. I told you guys my brother and I started together, and he only lives about 10 minutes from my house, and so he's always coming over to my house saying, Ben, will you show me how to paint something? Show me how to paint an eagle. Show me how to paint a tree. 5 years ago, he comes over and he says, Ben, show me how to paint a heart. I said, are you kidding me? A heart? Start here, good. Be mine. He's like, no, I want to paint a bunch of these hearts. And he pulls out these little 4x4 canvases, and he said, here's the idea. I want to start selling these at my events so that people can put them on their desk or give them away as gifts as a reminder that when life gets really tough, you got to find the heart to keep moving forward. And I love that message. I bought into it. But my brother, not being an artist, he was fine with something like this. I'm like, dude, no one's going to buy this. This is so boring. This is so stale. We've got to add some glitter. We've got to add a complementary color. We've got to make it artsy. We've got to give it our ADD flair. And so we were having all this fun, and while we're doing that, my daughter walks in, and my oldest daughter, Natasha, is a lot more like her mom. Where my brain's ADD and scattered and all over the place, my daughter is very OCD. It really freaks me out. She's in the 9th grade. She's the most organized person I've ever seen. I'll walk into her room and it is spotless. I mean, guys, she's in the 9th grade. Her socks are color coordinated. That's not normal, okay? When I walk into that child's room, she'll say, Dad, don't touch anything. Because she knows me, you know? And I'm like, you don't tell me to touch nothing. She goes to school, you know what I do that sock drawer? Yeah, here's a project when you get home. Boom. So she sees what we're doing, and my daughter's like, Dad, can I paint? And I love these daddy-daughter moments. I'm always looking for those opportunities. I put her, set her up with a smock and some paint and a brush, and she finds out very quickly as she's trying to paint the perfect heart, because that's what she wants. She wants it perfectly centered, perfectly even. She found out quickly that drawing a heart and painting a heart is two different things. When you paint a heart, or when you draw a heart, you start out with a marker or a pencil or something of that nature, and you start out at the bottom. You come up, you make your little loop, and you come down, and you meet down in the middle, right there. Pretty easy. Now, when you paint a heart, you've got a brush. It's got bristles. And those bristles add a little bit of erratic behavior. And what will happen is you'll start out with that first stroke, and it'll look really good. And because it looks so good, you're feeling good. You get a little bit more energy, and when you go paint the second part, you're pushing harder. You don't realize you're pushing harder, but the results end up being something like this. The bristles spread out, and it makes a lopsided heart. Now, if you're OCD, that'll drive you nuts. I've seen it, man. She got so mad. She's like, oh, yeah. And I'm a horrible parent because I didn't interject at all. I want to see what she would do. And common sense says, get a little bit more red paint, go to the small side, even it out. But now you're ticked off. And you got even more adrenaline going, and so you go and you do this. You end up with an incredibly messy heart. She ends up in tears, and she says, Dad, I'm no good. You do it. I said, hey, we don't quit. I did way too much of that growing up. Let me show you how to do it. And of course, when I said I'm going to show her how to do it, you know what she heard, right? Dad's going to do it for me. And it was really cute because she's coaching me the whole time because she wants this perfect heart to put in her room, her perfectly clean room. And she's like, Dad, even that out over there. Dad, smooth that out. Dad, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Don't use my lines on me. Those are reserved for parents only. I get done with that basic heart. It looks just like this. And I get ready to add the fun flair, and that kid yells at me. She's like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to add the good stuff. She's like, no, you're going to make it ugly. What I had before me was a teachable moment. I said, Natasha, do you trust me? She said, no. Smart kid. Despite her wishes, I took her heart and I did something like this. Looks like a seagull came to visit. It was ugly. She was upset. She struck fear into my heart when she said, I'm telling Mom. She wanted that perfect heart. And I said, hey, kid, I know it's ugly, I know it's messy, but let me ask you a question. The same question I want to ask you guys this afternoon. Even though this heart is tremendously ugly, can you still see the heart? Guys, sometimes the greatest opportunity to demonstrate heart is through the messiness of life. But to be ready to pour our heart into those things, we need to be inspired. We need to unite as a team, and we need to keep moving forward. When you are inspired, you will do amazing things. And that is my hope for you guys with this upcoming year.